Okay, so I think the big challenge with business communications at the moment is that, again, there's two angles here. So we've seen over the last 10 years that all email systems have lifted to the cloud, and that's become the norm. Then the next stage, I believe, in sort of business communication is you've got the world of things like Skype and those sort of internal communication systems. But when we're talking about consumers or potential clients contacting businesses, it's still the traditional phone, unless it's email, etc. And I think what's going to happen with that is as businesses are moving offices, the traditional big box sitting in a corner of the office or in a server room, I think that's going to go. And again, like across the industry as a whole, communications platforms are moving to the cloud. So I think we're going to see a lot of businesses, small to big, migrating their phone systems into the cloud, and there's many different technologies available to do that. I think the simple answer is no. Now, I think if you'd asked that 4 or 5 years ago, then, and I'd had this conversation with marketing directors, etc., where they were saying, we're really heavily focused on our e-commerce platform, more and more sales are coming through that. Why do we need to worry about the phone call? That's just going to disappear. And actually, I never believed that to be the case. I think people always want to talk, and especially if you have expensive purchase that you might be doing, you want to pick up the phone, get reassurance, or whether it's a technically complicated product. But actually, in the last couple of years, we've seen that because of smartphones, suddenly businesses are being called a lot more. As BIA Kensley, I believe, did a study that said between 2016 and 2020, there's going to be double the growth of phone calls to business. That study was for the US, but we're seeing that everywhere. And that's because of basically smartphones. So people are browsing the web on the phone. You can do a certain amount on your phone. And the natural thing is to click to call, and then you end up ringing a business for that more detailed conversation. So actually, all stats show now that it's the opposite trend. More phone calls into business because of smartphone technology. And I think that's only going to become even more so as global rollout of smartphone technology is increasing. You've got the Generation Z, as they call it these days, are spending more and more time on smartphones and don't even ever use a landline. So that sort of, I think you're just going to see that continue, that trend. So from a marketing perspective, you can use call data to analyse which calls are effective. So not all calls are equal. You could have a customer services call or a sales call, but if we just focus on sales calls where your business is trying to generate inbound marketing leads, then using call data to measure their effectiveness, whether it be that's a lead, it's a call that lasted for a certain amount of time, or right down to a sale in the CRM system, and you push that data back into a piece of technology, which will then tell you which marketing channels are effective. So effectively, generating calls is great, but actually finding out what marketing channel and what specific piece of marketing material was creating those calls is very important to businesses. I think over the next few years, what will happen is integration companies will start tapping into maybe the APIs that will come available from WhatsApp and WhatsApp Voice and the Facebook Messenger and Skype. So you can actually be a business and say to a consumer, contact us whichever way you like, and we'll take in that data and just receive it as another inbound marketing, inbound sort of call. And that sort of again comes back to the omni-channel world. So today we have to deal with Twitter and emails and phone calls. I think in a few years' time it will be 10 different inbound channels. The challenge is businesses are not going to want to integrate that stuff, so someone needs to provide that as a service to deliver one inbound stream and manage it for them. So that's how things are going to change.